The Border Patrol is going to be 100 years old this year, May 28th. And 100 years of progress along this U.S.-Mexico border is what we've done. And no, we haven't done it all alone. We've had partnerships and with whether state and local agencies, right? But 100 years of progress, and this administration came in and within about 6 months completely wrecked all of that. And with that, now what they're trying to wreck and dismantle, they're trying to dismantle those partnerships. They're trying to pit the Border Patrol against the state forces. And I can tell you at that ground level, the amount of coordination, the amount of collaboration still goes on that'll make you happy and know that the troops on the ground, they're doing the real work. It's where the rubber really hits the road.
No, I love that. Yes, I'll just say that. I absolutely agree. Governor Abbott's decision to activate his troops down the border is the state's right to do so. And I think people think it is an act of rebellion, but more so it is his choice to protect his state in his manner. Nothing he's done, I personally believe, is overreach. There is concerns about from outside, not personally me, just I do see the talks and the concerns about different aspects, the razor wire, the water floats, the things to deterrence that potentially have caused more harm. I would love to hear your opinion on that.
It's a great point and great question. And to be honest, I'd like to see him do a little bit more or a lot more, to be honest, because we're focused, of course, at the epicenter in Texas right now, which is Eagle Pass or has been. We've seen spike ups over in El Paso, and that'll continue to happen. But first, to the floating buoys out there, there's it's a very small portion of the river, but it was a portion of the river that was being utilized pretty heavily. So they put those there and stopped those crossings in that area, and that was their goal, right? But I can remember you had Joaquin Castro, he's a Democratic congressman out of San Antonio. You had Jackson Lee out of Houston. She's very vocal. And then you had another one by Sylvia Garcia out of Houston. These three senators or Congress people came down to really bash Governor Abbott. And it was, again, kind of comical because those are the two areas, San Antonio and Houston, where the vast majority of those people are being funneled to.
Absolutely.
And of course, Houston being the trafficking capital of the world. So that part of it, and then the media got involved. And then the administration wanted to say, well, these buoys are killing precious shells in the water. Well, so to counter that, and we've got a crossing here called Paso Colorado, historical crossing back from like most crossings when Indians used to come back and forth, right? But I can go out there and no one can get out there. It's a very remote piece of the border. But I went out there and saw some dead, some shells in the water, and took a picture and then made a Facebook post on it. How it's not the buoys that are killing it, it's the people, whether it's the trash and the bodily fluids and everything else that's being contaminated in parts of our rivers and whatnot. But the razor wire, no, it's just like a border wall. It's a deterrent, or it's serving as a deterrent. But it's not, strung all up and down the river here in Texas, the Rio Grande River. It's in certain areas where we've seen a high number of crossings, and they're wanting to shut those numbers down or shut those crossings down and funnel that activity like we do with walls to other locations. So I was going to say, I'm proud of what the governor's done, not only in that sense, but also through Operation Lone Star funding, because that has directly impacted my office. Again, the county can only afford to hire myself and 2 other deputies for 2,300 square miles. Again, the 10th largest county in Texas. We're a poor county. I drive the worst vehicles because I've always been one of those people. I didn't think because I was patrol agent charge, I had to have the nicest. I've never been like that. And I'm probably the worst on vehicles too. But through his funding, it's been able to hire more deputies, buy some new vehicles, and things of that nature.
Right. Well, I'll add to that. I did go out and see the buoys. I personally went out to go check them out myself. And what, again, I find frustrating is people using a false narrative to create an emotional response. It's unfair for people to do that because most of the nation doesn't have access to visually see these things and put their hands on them. There's a portion of those buoys that has it. What looks like to the rudimentary eye would be a saw type of band. When you actually go to it, it is another form of deterrence. It isn't something that can cut you unless you genuinely force the cut. It is more so an appearance that looks intimidating, but no, it is not the saw that people were making it out to be, which I find unfair that politically people use these buttons and this emotional draw. And this is both sides of the spectrum. The left and the right both do this. And this is what I'm trying to get down to the bottom of, like, let's stop doing that. Let's get honest with ourselves. Okay. And understanding why they use it. Now, whether you agree to a buoy being used or not is one thing. That's everyone's opinion. You know, we can say, I don't like it or I do like it. Okay. Has it caused deaths? Yes. But anytime illegals cross that river, they are risking their lives. And so at any point, whether it be a buoy or razor wire or just a loose rock on the floor that they misstep, someone coming across that river can lose their life. And they know that. They know the risk that they're taking. And so it's important for us to say that piece, and it's important for me to mention that for those who are listening, because everyone wants to jump, like I said, at these emotional points, and I'd rather be the person to say that is false, that is an emotional point, that is not true, right? And so we can hopefully get past that, and then the discussion becomes whether you agree with it or not. Well, that's an opinion, and that's fine, but it does help in the deterrence of migration, of illegal migration, because it makes trafficking organizations or even migrants themselves choose a different path. And it's the same use of what a fence would be, or what a wall would be, or what camera operators would be. All those are forms of deterrence, or high-vis location for agents. All those are areas of deterrence so that you see that you will be apprehended. But currently, Sheriff, they don't care about being apprehended. There's a different position here. When I was in, it was a chase. Sign of 5. Let's go. Let's beat the ground. We start tracking 5 miles down, 10 miles down. They're still going 20 miles down, shift change. And then you're trying to get to that's a different type of work that we don't see as much currently. What we see now is crossing the border and giving up.